I was very conscious when I was in the jungle a year ago that essentially the only thing that was keeping me in when I was so far out of my comfort zone was that the people I was there with were very kind. I mean, they were nice, they were thoughtful, they were considerate, and I was just exactly what I needed at that time. You know, when you have to be around people, you kind of need them to be people that will take your needs into account.
You normally?
Yeah, it is a challenge, and obviously it couldn't be helped. And I tried, you know, to be nice to other people when they needed support.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times when someone else in the camp might get a bit distressed, and I'd try and sort of comfort them and cheer them up.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it just made everything go easier.
And that's a bit of a myth buster there in itself, isn't it? That autistic people can't be compassionate or empathetic.
Yes, I mean, I might sort of need to have it pointed out to me when someone's upset, but if they are upset, well, you know, I know the script, and I will, I used to, when I was a child, I could see my mother sort of turning on the charm for people, and I used to think it was insincere. And then when I grew up, I thought, no, it wasn't insincere, it was mechanical. She sincerely wanted to make people feel comfortable, but you could just kind of see a switch flick in her hand, and you could see her turn it on.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's what I do. I think, oh, right, this is the point at which I have to do the compassionate thing. So, you know, you kind of know what things need to be said, what things people need to hear.
Yeah.
So you do that.
Yeah.
My kind of Christmas is spent completely on my own. No decorations. If I've managed to get round to that, I might put some cards up, but that's about it. And just me, mince pies and twiglets and things. No sort of proper Christmas dinner. But basically, yeah, just me. Nobody phoning me, nobody messaging me. Everybody else, you know, off with their own families and not thinking about me, and I just have a day to myself, just me and the Twiglets and the Lion King, basically.
Wow, that sounds great actually.
It does, doesn't it? It's interesting, the number of times I've said this to people, and men tend to say, oh, that sounds so lonely and miserable, and women sort of look to see if anyone's listening, and they go, I do envy you. I just need, I need my alone time. And especially if, as I usually am nowadays, if I'm doing panto, you know, it's the day off. And it's the day when you just sort of chill and you just have a bit of space. So it's just nice to have some space. But there are loads of places I could go. But really, I like to just stay put.
Yeah, great.
I've travelled far too much, especially this year. I counted, I've been on 22 separate flights this year, and that's just too many. So, you know, this is just an opportunity to say, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything, it's Christmas, everything's shut. So, I have perfect excuse to do nothing.
I love it. And you have spoken publicly because you've been in the jungle, and obviously you're very high profile with the chase, about being autistic. Is it important to you that people understand autism?
Yeah, it would be helpful if people understood what I can and can't do, the amount of togetherness that I can't really handle, and the extent to which I need, you know, a lot of downtime that's really downtime and is me on my own without anyone else around. And, you know, ideally is at the start or the end of the day so I can be in the hotel room with Wi-Fi. And not, you know, downtime to me is not sort of sitting around in a green room for a few hours with a load of other people there. That's just time when you're not working, you know, because you're waiting to work. It's not really the same thing. I was saying to the producer just this morning, he was saying, you know, I don't know how you do the chase. And I said to him, I swear to you, the chase is the easiest thing I do. Certainly since the beginning of March, I've been renting a house in Watford. Prior to that, it was always staying in hotels. So, you know, I pack the suitcases, load up the car, drive down to Hertfordshire, check into the hotel, get the cases upstairs, get everything unpacked, go to bed, get up and try and sleep, get up the next morning in, you know, an overheated hotel room, have a coffee, have a shower, get dressed, go to the studio, get made up, get dressed in my costume, and then when I'm down on the studio floor and I'm getting mic'd up, then I'm thinking, right, I've done all the difficult stuff. You know, this is the easy bit. This is the bit I know how to do. But just sort of, you know, navigating the day, and particularly travelling, I'm really getting to realise that I loathe having to actually pack up a suitcase and go somewhere else. It's just such a big upheaval for me. I'm never sure how long it's going to take. I don't know how long to budget for the actual packing process. It's just, I always used to say, you know, I love going to Australia to do a Chase Australia because I get to stay in the same place for 2 weeks. And it's just really important not to have to keep travelling.
Was that an issue growing up? Like,
not particularly, but I mean, I suspect probably a lot of autistic kids don't really like having to go on holiday. You know, they probably like not being at school, but they're not terribly bothered where they are, as long as it's somewhere where, you know, that feels familiar, essentially.
were you given a diagnosis late in the day? Or?
Yeah, in my 40s.
Right, so. And did that help you understand
it did.
yourself?
It was very helpful. At the same time, I found myself thinking, if it had happened earlier, what worries me is people might have expected less of me. Right. I'm concerned that, you know, people might have thought, well, we can't expect her to go to university. Whereas all the women in my family, it was taken for granted, they would all go to university. You know, I wouldn't have wanted to be left out of that. You know, I understand it must be hard work, but at the same time, it isn't this sort of great operatic tragedy. And I wish, was it Jim Sinclair who wrote that marvellous essay, Don't Mourn for Us? You know, stop mourning for the child that never actually existed. You've got this child, and you know, they're not about to become a different child. If you want them not to be autistic, you're basically saying you want them to be someone completely different. And, you know, that isn't terribly accepting, frankly. I wish you all a happy Christmas, and if you're in the Middlesbrough area, please do come and see Sleeping Beauty at the Middlesbrough Theatre. It's awfully good. Not me, but the rest of them.